I want to start with something the president said last night. I want you to listen to.
Now we have tested almost 40 million people. By so doing, we show cases, 99% of which are totally harmless.
Dr., 99% of coronavirus cases are, quote, completely harmless. No health expert that we have found can back that up. Can you?
So we know that cases are surging in the country. We've all seen the graphs associated with that. And it's just too early, and I'm not going to speculate on what the causation is there. What I can tell you is the way out of this, Dana, the way out of this for all Americans is to follow the CDC and the White House Task Force guidelines, social distance, wear a mask if you find yourself in a situation where you can't social distance, good hand hygiene, all the things that I would tell my patients. And if you're near someone who's vulnerable and you think you've been exposed, please take care and avoid exposing that person who's vulnerable.
Well, Dr. Hahn, I think it's really important to stick to the question about the 99% that the president threw out there. I can tell you it's not true, and that's obviously not my opinion. It is fact based on the CDC estimates. Only about a third of coronavirus cases are asymptomatic. The WHO says, the World Health Organization says about 20% of people diagnosed with coronavirus are sick enough to need oxygen or hospital care. And this is really important. Probably one of the most important misclaims or frankly lies that the president has put out there, because it really affects people's health. If they hear the president saying 99% of people are fine, they're going to change their behavior, potentially get sick, infect other people. How does that make you feel as a member of his own task force?
I totally support the CDC and the information that they're putting out with respect to this pandemic. I think it's, again, really important. The guidelines that we've emphasized, the data that we have, again, it's a rapidly evolving situation, and we're going to have more data. But we absolutely must take this seriously. We must institute these public health measures. We cannot back off from those. It's critically important for Americans to follow those guidelines and to protect the most vulnerable.
And Dr. Hahn, I realize this is not easy for you. You are working really hard to try to protect Americans. So I just have to ask you flatly, to that end, to protect Americans, is the president wrong?
So I'm not going to get into who's right and who's wrong. What I'm going to say, Dana, is what I've said before, which is that it's a serious problem that we have. We've seen this surge in cases. We must do something to stem the tide, and we have this in our power to do it by following the guidance from the White House Task Force and the CDC.
So you won't say whether 99% of coronavirus cases are, quote, completely harmless is true or false, what the president said at the White House last night?
Dana, what I'll say is that we have data in the White House Task Force. Those data show us that this is a serious problem. People need to take it seriously.